ततस्ते क्षीण सुकृता पुनर्लोकम् इमं सति पतन्ति विवसा देवै सद्यो विभ्रंशितोऽद्यता ततस्ते क्षीण सुकृता पुनर्लोकमिमं सति पतन्ति विवशा देवै सद्यो विभ्रंशितोदयाः ततस्ते क्षीण सुकृता पुनर्लोकमिमं सति पतन्ति विवशा देवै सद्यो विभ्रंशितोदयाः ततस्ते क्षीण सुकृता पुनर्लोकमिमं सति पतन्ति विवशा देवै सद्यो विभ्रंशितोदयाः ततस्ते क्षीण सुकृता पुनर्लोकमिमं सति पतन्ति विवशा देवै सद्यो विभ्रंशितोदयाः ततस्ते क्षीण सुकृता पुनर्लोकमिमं सति पतन्ति विवशा देवै विभ्रंशितोदयाः ततस्ते क्षीण सुकृता पुनर्लोकमिमं सति पतन्ति विवशा देवै सद्यो विभ्रंशितोदयाः Word to word translation. Tata, then, te, they, क्षीण, exhausted, sukrita, results of their pious activities. Puna, again, lokam imam, to this planet. Sati, O virtuous mother. Patanti, fall. Vivasha, helpless. Devai, by higher arrangement. Sadya, suddenly. Vibramshita, caused to fall. Udaya, their prosperity. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they fall down by higher arrangement and again come back to this planet. Just as any person raised to a high position sometimes all of a sudden falls. Purport. It is sometimes found that a person elevated to a very high position in government service falls down all of a sudden and no one can check him. Similarly, after finishing their period of enjoyment, foolish persons who are very much interested in being elevated to the position of president in higher planets also falls down to this planet. The distinction between the elevated position of a devotee and that of an ordinary person attracted to fruitive activities is that when a devotee is elevated to the spiritual kingdom, he never falls down, whereas an ordinary person falls, even if he is elevated to the highest planetary system, Brahmalok. It is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka, that even if one is elevated to a higher planet, he has to come down again. But Krishna confirms in Bhagavad Gita 8.16, Mam upetyat kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. Anyone who attains my abode never comes back to this conditioned life of material existence. Om Ajnantimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunvinitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवान् च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितां च नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधा कान्त नमस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गेन राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So I thank all of you for the opportunity given here to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam for the pleasure of Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Gaur Nitai and all the assembled devotees. So here the translation comes as, when the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they fall down by higher arrangement and again come back to this planet. Just as any person raised to a high position sometimes all of a sudden falls. So we see that this material world is a temporary place, and whatever activities we do, we basically, the living entity, he tries to do many things, trying to go to the heavenly planets, different elevations, elevated positions. But again, because of the temporary nature of this world, he has to again come back, and that's how the repeated cycle of birth and death continues. So it's like the same as like an employee who is working in the company, he gets a LTA, that leave travel allowance. So when he does very nice work for the project, and after doing that particular project very successfully, completing that project, then the company may say that, oh, you have done so nicely, so now you take a one month leave. So then he will take 1 month leave, then he will go to different places to roam around, to different whatever the liking with his family he will go. And but you see that after some maybe 3 to 4 weeks, as soon as his leaves get over, again he has to come back to the same company, and again he has to same the working hard, and all those things again will start. So even though he wants that let this leave remains for eternity, but still it very immediately it ends, and then again he has to work very hard to again get the money, and again he has to go start the another project. So we see that this kind of elevation is not actually the elevation by the material means, actually that is not going to keep us for long to that position. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a section of Prachina Barishat who comes in the line of Dhruva Maharaj. So this Prachina Barishat, he actually was the first class performer of yagyas. So he used to do different yagyas so that he can be elevated to the heavenly planets. And he used to do like that. Even though he had sent his son Prachetas to do meditation, they were under water and they were meditating on the Lord. And but this Prachina Parishad, he was more into going for the heavenly planets. So when Narad Muni actually came there and he saw that this Prachina Parishad, he felt very pity on him. That because he comes in the lineage of Dhruva Maharaj, so such a wonderful lineage is there, but still he is now attached to the so-called heavenly planets. So we see that in this world also, people they are worshipping demigods, different demigods, because in the some of the Vedas also it is written that if you worship this demigod, then you get this result. If you worship him, then you get that. So people because of getting some material desires, they have so they go to the demigods and then they ask for demigod, please give me sukha sampati garave kashtamite tanka. So that Hindi that saying comes. So basically, let all the wealth, everything comes to me and all my bodily pain goes away. So that is how people are worshipping the demigod for that reason. So there are a lot of material benefits behind that. So we see if you want to the Prachina Parishad mentality, if you want to apply in today's world, so especially in India, many people, especially the youths, they slog very hard to go to the Western countries, and they will actually work day and night, or they will study day and night to crack some exam, and then get some study course in the Western countries or get some job. So they are very much into that. So one of such boy, he was actually very much he wanted when it was asked, one of our devotee was preaching to him. So the devotee asked him that what is your goal of life? He said, my goal of life is to go to America. So then and he was doing all the things in that way. He was wearing his even the dress was in the American style. He used to keep his hairstyle also in that way. All his room, he had different posters of Western Hollywood actor and actress and all, and he used to hear the Western music. So in that way, he's like he was living in that way consciousness. So then this devotee said that if you live like this, then tomorrow you will get birth in America. So because whatever we generally think or whatever is our consciousness, accordingly we are going to get the benefit. And this boy, he actually became very happy. He thought that, oh, instead of this Indian body, now I'll get American body, and I will go there and then I can enjoy more, because Western, why people want to go to the Western world, because basically it's a better facility for enjoyment, better comfort, more luxuries, more the facilities are there, so they want to enjoy like that. So then this devotee was very intelligent. He said that don't think that you will get birth only as a human being. You can be born as a dog or animal or any kind of tree also. Then this boy was very shocked. Then he said, oh, then I have to do something. I don't want to be born as a animal or something in the US. So then the devotee said, okay, then you stand Hare Krishna. Then the human life is guaranteed. And then he started chanting some rounds. So basically we see that people want to go to the heavenly planets, or they want to go to the better comforts of life. Actually that is the main motive is sense gratification. Basically they want better material enjoyments, and that is the whole focus of their life. So Narad Muni felt very pity on Prachina Parishad, and then he wanted to give him the teachings of Bhakti Yoga. So basically if you see what was the difference between Prachina Parishad and their sons, the Prachetas. So the difference was Prachina Parishad wanted to go to the heavenly planets, which is in the same world, whereas Prachetas wanted to go to the spiritual world. By going there, one cannot return back. So Prachina Parishad wanted to be in heaven. So, but if you see the heaven and hell, both comes in the same material universe only. So it's not so intelligent person actually will not try to get some position in this world, but he will try to do something which will take him out of this world to some place where he cannot come back again, and he will have eternal happiness. So that is the most intelligent person, and that's what devotees do. Devotees understand that this material world is temporary, and then they don't want to endure for any material happiness or material comforts in this world, but they want permanent happiness which is there only in the service of the Lord. So Radhesham Prabhu always tells about this three types of jail. Like once there were a lot of prisoners in the jail, and the prisoners were asked that now you are in this prison and you are getting some, like sometimes the fan is working, sometimes it's not working. They are in the already prison and they get little some old the stale this chapati and other things, and he has to do a lot of hard work breaking the stones and different things. So then it was asked to the prisoners that which kind of jail you want. So now you have this, maybe we can give a better jail, that is B class jail, where you will get much better facilities. You will have a cot and you will have some dining table and you can sit and eat. And there is one more jail, that is A class, first class jail, where you can even get a AC in your prison and then you can stay more peacefully. So which type of jail you want? So which one you prefer? This question actually Vaishanav Sharan Pr asked in one of the youth camp also. Some of the boys actually said we want A class jail. So then, but there were some intelligent boys. They said that, bro, we don't want to be in any of the jails, nor A, nor B, nor C. We want to get out of the jail. So that is actually the intelligent person who wants to get out of the jail and he doesn't want to remain in the same different comforts of life and remain in the jail itself. So in the Bhagavatam, the material world is compared to jail, because those who are independent of the Lord, those who rebelled from the Lord, they actually come to this material world, and now we are conditioned and we are suffering the different three modes of material nature and various things. So we are in that position. So we have to come out of this jail. So that's how we can actually, by doing devotional service, by worshipping the Lord, by chanting the holy names of the Lord, we can actually go back to Him. So one thing is doing different. So the pious activities when one does, he goes to the heavenly planets. Another thing is also when one does lot of pious activities, punya. So even we see in this world there are different types of people. Some are very very rich, some are very poor, some are very beautiful, some are ugly, some are very educated or very knowledgeable, some are not so much or they are very average. So we see that different types of people are there, and this also depends on their punya. So because they have done something, this is like a cause of their past deeds. So in the previous life they have done something good, so now they are getting the benefit of that, or they are getting some better facilities in terms of their living lifestyle, or they have got birth in a very rich family. So one may think that, oh, he has got this, I did not get, and one may start comparison. But actually even this thing is temporary, because now the person is having some lot of wealth or something, but as soon as that punya is over, then he has to just vacate that thing. Like somebody is staying in a rented flat, till the time you pay the rent, then you get the nice facilities, you can use the flat for the purpose. But as soon as your money is over, then the owner will say that now you have to vacate. He cannot just think that, oh, this is my house, forever it is going to remain with me. So no, he has to vacate one day. So till the time he has money, he can stay there. As soon as money is not there, he has to vacate that. So similarly, the pious activities, as soon as it gets exhausted, then one has to leave that position. So once there was one very big businessman, the Cyrus Mistry. He was actually one of the richest person. He was the richest person in India. He was actually former chairman of Tata Group, and so just maybe 2-3 years back, he actually left body in the accident. He was just 54 years old, and so he was driving from. He had gone to Gujarat for some work, and from Ahmedabad he was coming back to Mumbai. So on the way, his wife and one more lady, they were sitting in the front, and this Cyrus Mistry and one of his friend, they were sitting behind. So here too there is very strict rule that the back person has to put seat belt, but India it is not so much. So only the front people had put seat belt. He also had the facility, but he did not put. They were just going like that, talking to each other, and the lady was driving. So when they were going on the highway with very big speed, and even that car, Mercedes car, it was costing around 50 lakhs or 70 lakhs something, that car, and it has all the facilities, the very modern facilities were available with all those airbags opening when one gets hit or something. So everything was there. But suddenly, when the lady was driving, at one time it was 4-lane road, then it became 3, and at one point of time it was just a 2-lane road. And she actually was driving very fast and she couldn't control. When the divider came, she actually hit the divider, and the car was very fast and very hit very strongly to that divider, and it went quite ahead of that. And in that process, the Cyrus Mistry was behind. He was actually thrown from the front wind, that glass. He was thrown outside, and on the spot he died. So it was a very like the kind of accident happened. It was really the, if you see the pictures and all, it was very ghastly. But so of course the two ladies got saved, but the other two men who were behind, they died in that accident. And if you see the Cyrus Mistry, how much wealth he was having around, in the dollars it comes to $29 billion property. So that much property he had. But now you see that he has died now. He just at the age of 54, and now all those property he is not able to carry also with along with him in the wherever he go. He might have taken birth also some place, but he can't ask that, oh, I was this and this person in my previous life. Please give me that money back. It was in my bank account. So nobody will believe him. And then he has to again work hard. Again he has to gain the money. Again maybe from 1 rupees, 2 rupees, and again he has to get all those things. So we see that material things, whatever you do, ultimately it all becomes zero. So it is like material achievements is like 1 0. One more achievement you take, second 0. Then it's like it increasing the number of zeros. But as soon as you put Krishna in the center, then it's like putting 1. So then it becomes 1, and then so many zeros are there. So it become very valuable. So similarly, when we put Krishna in the front of our life, then we see that our life has very different dimension. It becomes very glorious. So those devotees who also have this kind of facilities, richness, beauty, fame, wealth, but they utilize all this in service of the Lord, then they become very glorious. Like we see this Alfred Fort, Amrish Pr, who donated so much money for the Temple of Vedic Planetarium. So we see that is actually helping in the making Prabhupada's dream true, and helping so many devotees to connect to Krishna consciousness. So in that way, whatever he had that facilities, or he had that punya, but that punya he utilized in the spiritual service of the Lord. So in that way, everything gets. So that punya will actually now transform into akarma or spiritual karma, where you don't get bind in the cycle of birth and death. But so that is what is the difference between. So there are 3 types of karma: sakarma, and that is punya, pious activities, and then there is a vikarma, that is the sinful activities, and there is akarma, that is spiritual activities. So when you do sakarma or you do vikarma, that is good or bad activities, you still get entangled into this material world. But when you do akarma, that is spiritual activities, then one gets actually, even though the activities will be same, but because he is doing for the pleasure of the Lord, he is actually unwinding his all karma. So he is getting liberated. So that is the main difference between the living entity doing the pious activities and the living entity engaging in the spiritual activities. So it is also said that this material world is like a Ferris wheel. So sometimes that the entire chakra is there. I don't know whether it is here, it is there or not. So people go up, they feel very nice. Now we are going up. They have a small. It's like they go up, and then when they are coming down, they feel very fearful. Then again they go up. Then again they come. So that Ferris wheel. So they sometimes up, sometimes down. It's like going on in that way. So the material world is also compared to the same. Sometimes you get some higher birth, you do some mischief or some sinful act, again you come back. So that cycle goes on. Sometimes better birth, sometimes sinful birth. So that Ferris wheel, that kind of things goes on. So the living entity keeps jumping up and down in this material world. Sometimes up, sometimes down. But only by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, Brahmanda Brahmite Kon, Bhagyavana Jiv, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, Bhakti Lata Brij. So all these living entities, they are actually wandering in this universe. Brahmanda Brahmite, Kona Bhagyavana Jiv. So in that, there will be a rare fortunate person who will actually get the mercy of Guru and Krishna. And with that mercy, he will actually understand that what am I doing here? I'm just going, jumping up and down, going here, going there, taking this birth, that birth. I have to just finish the business of birth and death, and I have to come out of it and get a place where I can permanently live there. So when he comes to this understanding by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, then he comes in contact with devotees, then he starts chanting, then he starts reading Prabhupada books, and he starts associating with devotees, reading Shrimad Bhagavatam, hearing Shrimad Bhagavatam. So then he understands slowly that how this material world is such a illusion, and I have to come out of it. And then what is the reality? Then you understand, okay, spiritual world is the reality, and once I go there, then I don't have to come back. And that is the life of eternity. So material pleasure versus spiritual pleasures. So material pleasures, it is like nectar at the beginning but poison at the end. Initially you feel a lot of attraction, but when you do it, then it's just suffering. You just feel lamented that why did I do this? This is all bogus. Whereas spiritual pleasure, sometimes initially it may appear like a poison. Getting up early in the morning or doing some there are some rules and regulations. We should not do this. We should do that. So initially it appears like, oh, so many things are there, but the result is it's a nectar. So Lord Krishna is waiting for us and he is inviting us, please come, and he is ready to embrace us when we go back to the spiritual world, like that Gop Kumara. So Krishna, when Gop Kumara reaches to the spiritual world, then Krishna immediately embraces him, and so that is what Krishna is waiting for each and every living entity. So when this living entity who is bound in this world, when will he come back? So in the Upanishads there is one analogy also given that two birds, they are sitting on a tree. There is one is Jivatma, the living entity, and one is Paramatma, the super soul. So the Jivatma is trying to eat the fruits of different trees from one branch to another. He keep jumping here, there. So sometimes same tree, sometimes he gets bitter fruits, sometimes he gets sweet fruits, but he's still trying to find that maybe somewhere I will get a lot of pleasure. So one tree, then he jumps to another tree, then another tree. So he's just going like that. And Paramatma just goes with him. And Paramatma is actually observing him, all the activities what he is doing. So, but if only this Jivatma, the living entity, if only he looks back to the Paramatma, then that's it. He doesn't have to search for all these pleasures anywhere else. He can get the ultimate pleasure and just align with the super soul and just practice devotional service and go back to Godhead. So, but forgetting the Supreme Lord, the living entity gets entangled into this material world and he goes on in that way. So in the Jadbal section also one thing comes that Rahugana, King Rahugan, he was actually very much proud. He said that I am this, and when he told the Bharat Maharaj, Jadbharat, when he was lifting the palanquin and he couldn't lift it properly, so that time this King Rahugana started very arrogantly, he was telling that I am the master and you are my servant, how can you do this, you have to do it properly, and sarcastically he tells many other things also. So we see that in the entire episode, when Jadbharat was very much silent by this time, but when he hears this kind of Ishwar Bhav mentality in Rahugana, so he couldn't tolerate. And he thought that, okay, I am going to leave from this place, but I want to give him a lesson and I want to teach him, and at least I want to help him come out of this illusion which he is into. And that time this Rahugana was telling that I am the master and you are servant, and so Jadbharat immediately said, who is master and who is servant? Who knows? Today you are my master and I may be your servant, but tomorrow, this nature of this world is always changing. So today you may be the master, but tomorrow you may be the servant. So the position doesn't remain same. So there is one example is there where one of the company, actually this true story also, there was one employee who was working in a company. He was very sincere, very nicely, he was very talented also. So he was coming from a middle class background, just maybe some village he was coming from. So when he started going to the company, he had lot of talents and skills, and he used to do lot of work also. So the boss who was above him, he used to exploit. He used to do lot of work done from him, and when the credit used to come, he used to take all the credit for himself. And he used to do, and when this subordinate, he wanted to tell some different ideas in the project and all, he used to just he said, oh, you don't know anything. You should not tell anything. You just do the work. Whatever is told, that much should be done. And this boss used to try to exploit him, making a lot of work done from him. And so that's how he went. But then one day this employee thought that, oh, this is too much. He is not letting me grow in my profession. So then he changed the field. In the same company, he went to do into another field, another project. And then he had a different boss who was more balanced, and he was more understandable. So then he started working under him, and then by seeing the talents, actually he got a better position afterwards. And then he became the main team lead of that project. And then even in that also he excelled. And within some years, he was actually made as one of the directors of the company. And then this boss who was earlier exploiting him, he actually came under this employee who is now in the higher position. So previously he was thinking that I am the boss and he is my employee, but now the things have become totally opposite. The employee has become the boss and he has become like one of the employees. So then it was like a very shameful thing for him. Then somehow he used to come, but of course that employee was good. So basically the purpose behind the story was that the position, the post which we get in this world, that is not fixed. Sometimes somebody is having a higher post, sometimes somebody may go into the lower post. Like here also it is said that a government official, Prabhupada is saying here, it is sometimes found that a person elevated to a very high position in government service falls down all of a sudden. So till the time he is into that position, all people respect him, they will pay obeisances, and so many, they'll arrange different things for him. As soon as he comes out of the post, nobody even looks at him. Maybe they will just say that okay, he was there and all, but all the facilities, everything will be taken over, and some other person who may be the ordinary citizen before, now he has come to that post and he will get all those facilities and treatment. So this is the material world where only till the time you have that punya or you have that past credit, you get that particular facility. But as soon as it is over, then one has to again go back to the same neutral position. And again he has to work hard and come back. So that is how the things in this world is going on. So I was just researching how one gets entangled into this material nature. So that time in the Jadbal section only, there are some points which comes. So we'll just quickly go through these points. How a living entity gets conditioned or he gets entangled into this life, material nature. So first thing happens is, the living entity is always overpowered by the modes of material nature. So first thing happens is he becomes overpowered by the different modes of nature, sometimes in goodness, sometimes in passion, sometimes in ignorance. So like that he keeps moving from one mode to another. Consequently, this is the second thing, he is simply concerned with the material benefits and auspicious and inauspicious material things. So first is getting overpowered by material nature. Then second thing comes is he becomes concerned only with the material benefit and auspicious and inauspicious material things for his own. So that selfishness comes. And third thing is, because of these all things, the mind, which is the leader of the senses, it gets absorbed in material activities life after life. So mind becomes actually absorbed into material activities life after life. And then he continuously gets different types of bodies and suffers miserable material conditions. So basically mind is the one who covers the living entity, the soul, and then because of that actually mind covering the soul, it actually carries the living entity from one body to another. So that's why mind control is very, very important. So in Bhagavad Gita there is the 6th chapter, that verse comes, Bandhuratmatmanastasya evatmayanatmana jitah. What is the next thing? Varte tatmaiva shatruvat. So basically when the mind, as long as it is controlled, it is our best of the friends. But when it is not controlled, it is worst enemy. So just imagine, and at our stage actually mind is not controlled. That means we are staying with our greatest enemy. So generally if in a room somebody, even a mosquito we don't keep. If some mosquito is there, we just drive him away. We don't want to because it hurts us. And similarly, what to speak of a living entity who is very envious or want to kill you? How can you keep him? So mind is actually destroyer of the living entity because he is the greatest enemy. He can even destroy our spiritual life. So it's the mind who actually covers the living entity and then takes the living entity from one body to another. Because basically a lot of desires are stored in the mind. I want to do this, and it is said here that mind is actually the leader of the senses. So all the senses are there, and mind is like leader. And above him there is the intelligence. But the intelligence, when it is little, it's not so strong. It has not got the strength from reading the scriptures. Then the intelligence becomes weak, and then it follows the mind only. And then mind goes here, there. So you know that chariot example in the Bhagavad Gita. So all the six senses, it becomes so, they actually go all over. Everybody wants to go on their own senses. They want to gratify their own senses, and the entire chariot actually collapses. So that is what happens to the human being. When the mind is not controlled, then it tries to go into a different direction, and then that's how our destruction takes place. Even it is said that I was once reading, even when somebody commits suicide, how one commits suicide, that is also the mind only tells him. Mind says that, oh, see, there is so much suffering in this world, this you are not getting what you wanted, and you are getting so many failures, you have so many loan, you have so much to struggle in this world. Better you commit suicide, you will be happy. So that is what mind actually convinces the living entity. And the living entity says, yes, yes, this is what I have to do. Now I have to take a rope and I have to bind it to the fan and I have to hang it. So that is also mind only does all these things. Even that physical destruction is also done by the mind if mind is not under control. So in many of the big institutes also we see that there are suicide cases happening. So even though they get into very big colleges, but still because they are not able to control their mind, they have to get down and they destroy their entire life. So due to the mind, the living entity suffers or enjoys material distress and happiness. So whatever happiness and distress we get, that is also because of mind. So mind sometimes says you do this, you will become happy, and we do it. Sometimes we get happiness, sometimes distress. So those things are also actually in one sense that is just imagination from the mind. And being thus illusioned, the mind further creates pious and impious activities and their karma, and thus the soul becomes conditioned. So this is how the soul becomes into the conditioned nature, and it gets more and more entangled in the material nature. So once there was a Russian scientist, he actually wanted to know the nature of human being, how he is so much attached to the fruitive activities, and what is the mentality of a human being. So for that he did an experiment he wanted to do it with the animal, and so there was a rat. He actually takes the rat and catches him in a cage. So there was a big cage was there, and the rat was caught up in that. So then the scientist, he actually keeps on the left side he keeps some eatable things, and on right side also he keeps something eatable. So then the rat, when he gets up morning, he sees, oh, there is eatable already ready for me. So he goes the left side, he eats that. Then he goes to the right side, there also he eats, and he was very satisfied. Then next day again he does the same thing, left side, then the right side, then again left side. So daily he was having that meal already ready for him. So one day scientist, what he does, on the left side he will put some current, some shock which is resistible for the rat. So then the shock was put up there, and then the rat, as usual, he thinks that okay, left side I will eat, then right side I will eat. So as soon as he goes to the left side, he gets a shock. And then he gets little confused. Oh, what is this? What is happening? Again he tries to take it, and again it gets a shock. Then he understands. Okay, left side here it is. The shock is coming. So then he goes to the right side to take the food, and there he is able to take it. So he takes it nicely. Then he understands. Okay, left side means shock. Right side means I can eat that. So then he eats from the right side, and then he continues like that for some days. And then the scientist, he changes. Instead of left side, he puts the shock in the right side. And now the rat, when he goes to the right side, he gets a shock, and he gets again confused that, oh, what is happening? So then slowly he goes to the left side and start eating, and there was no shock. So then he understands, okay, left side means there is no shock. So then he keeps eating food from the left side. So then at one point of time, the scientist keeps shock on the both sides. So then the rat comes, he tries to eat from the left side, he gets shocked. he goes to the right side, there also he gets shocked. So then at one point of time he was just going from this side to this side, just trying to, because he was so afraid that I may get shocked. So he was just going like that. And in that process, actually the scientist, he opens the door and he keeps a big cake outside the door. But the rat was so much entangled into that, going from this side to this side, he actually doesn't even understand that the door is open now and I can be liberated, I can go out. So he doesn't even understand. So then this scientist actually understood that actually this is what is the nature of the material living entities also. They become so engrossed into the material activities. Sometimes they get pleasure, sometimes the pain is there, but still they will not leave that determination to, like, they will never come to the conclusion, okay, I am not going to get pleasure here, let me come out of this. They will still try to get pleasure out of that, and still they will try to roam in the same way. And that's how the entanglement happens, life after life. So this actually starts, it doesn't just limit it to this life, but even the many lifetimes, the living entity keeps into this cycle of birth and death to try to enjoy different things. And he doesn't understand that the liberation door is open for me. The devotees have come with the books and they are giving me the books and they are telling me, please come out of this. But because the living entity is so much engrossed into that, he is not able to take to the good instructions and he remains into the same cycle of birth and death. So basically, how to come out of this entanglement? So first thing is given here is, Prabhupada says that no one should neglect to control the mind. If one does, the mind becomes so powerful that one immediately forgets his real position. So no one should neglect to control the mind. So one has to control the mind, and in case somebody neglects it, then he will forget the real position. What is his real position? And forgetting that he is an eternal servant of Krishna and that service to Krishna is his only business, one is doomed by material nature to serve the object of the senses. So it is said, Krishna Bhuli Sehi Jeev Anadi Bahirmukha Atayeva Maya Tare Deya Samsara Dukha. So by forgetting the Supreme Lord, one actually gets sufferings in this samsara. Samsara Dukha he gets. He gets miseries and he gets into this. He gets doomed by material nature to serve the object of the senses. And he forgets his eternal service, that is service to Krishna. And then he keeps taking this cycle of birth and death, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Jatani, Jatare Shayanam, Iya Samsare, Bahudustare, Kripaya Pare, Pahi Murare. So only Murari, that the Supreme Lord is the only shelter. Otherwise it is very difficult to come out of this Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. The cycle will keep going on. So one has to understand that all these kinds of material happiness are undesirable and they cannot give me any permanent place. Only spiritual shelter, when we take the shelter of Radha Gopinath, then we will find that we get eternal happiness and he will give us a place where we will not come back. And he is assuring in Bhagavad Gita, Maam upyatyatu kaunteya punar janmana vidyate. So what is that verse? A Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna Maam upyatyatu kaunteya punar janmana vidyate. So A Brahma Bhuvana Loka. So from actually from the topmost planet to the downmost, everything is the places of misery. But Krishna is assuring that when you come to my abode, then you will not entangle or you will not be into these miseries. You will come out of that and you will get eternal happiness. Satchit Ananda Vigraha. So you get Sat Chit Ananda, that you are eternal, purity, that soul, what is the nature of the soul, that actually will be fully manifested when we serve the Lord. Otherwise, being conditioned, we try to identify with different position, different bodies, and like that. So we see that Srila Prabhupada, when he went to the Western countries, like unlike so-called people who want to go to Western countries for sense gratification, Prabhupada actually went to Western countries to fulfill the instruction of his Guru. And he did not get allured or tempted by anything, even though so many different, he could see actually so many wonderful facilities are there. Even I was hearing one of the class of Prabhupada in Sydney. So Prabhupada was telling about how if the village man, if he comes to this place, he will think that village man of India. If he comes to Australia and he will see all these wonderful things, he will actually think that, oh, this is for him this is like a heaven. So he will be very much attracted by all the things. But Srila Prabhupada, even though he went to all those countries and even though he saw all that, but he did not get attracted or allured by any of those things. And on the contrary, he could, like there is one that pastime comes to when he was going from the Hawaii beach and he was just looking at the ocean and there were some people who were surfing in the ocean. So he asked the disciples, so Prabhupada asked the disciples what they are doing in the ocean. Prabhupada was going for a class. On the way, he just saw this scene. And disciples said that Prabhupada, they are surfing. They are surfing. Prabhupada said, what? They are suffering? So, no, Prabhupada, they are surfing in the ocean. So then they goes ahead and they goes for the class. Prabhupada was giving class there. And after reaching there, then Prabhupada says that I was just coming from the Hawaii beach and I saw some people suffering in the ocean. So again one of the disciples said, not suffering Prabhupada, it's surfing. You call it surfing, but I call it suffering. So Prabhupada was very strong. So Prabhupada could see that so-called enjoyment people are doing, he could see that that is actually suffering. That is not enjoyment. So that is how Prabhupada was unaffected by that. And the main reason of that is he was always Krishna conscious. His activities were Krishna conscious, his desires were Krishna conscious. So he was fully into that mode. And he had the faith in the holy name. And he knew that I am here to serve my spiritual master, to take the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ahead. So with that motive and with that Krishna consciousness, actually he could see everyone as suffering, and he could not get allured or any tempted or even appreciating those kind of culture. So like London, when he came, he said London is hell. That's what Prabhupada used to tell. So basically we see that this is the vision of pure devotees, and how we can do it, how we can also follow him is we can also make our activities Krishna conscious by making our desires Krishna conscious. So the more we purify our senses, our mind, our intelligence. So basically intelligence, mind and senses. So intelligence can be purified and become more stronger by the studying of the Srimad Bhagavatam, reading of the scriptures. It makes us very strong, understanding that what is the truth, what has to be done and what should not be done, what is right for what is favorable for my bhakti, what is not favorable. So that is the intelligence. And then intelligence is strong, then mind immediately, because mind will always, the intelligence will tell, okay mind, no, should not listen to mind. So then mind also will be under control. And then the senses will also get purified. Then we can engage our senses in the service of the Lord. So in that way the senses get purified. Different services which we all do. So those service to the Lord, that will also purify. And that's how the senses are purified. The mind becomes calm and then the intelligence is strong. With that, we can make our desires also very purified, Krishna conscious desires, and remove all the material contamination. And slowly then our activities, our entire existence, our consciousness becomes Krishna conscious. So that is how we can try to come out of this this world, this Ferris wheel going here, there, and we can actually come out of this world and go back to Godhead. So that is what we learn from this particular shloka. So thank you all very much. So we end here discussion. In case anyone has any questions, one question maybe we can take if somebody has. Yes, Praji.
On the point you mentioned about mind, like how even it convinces the living entity to do this to be happy.
Yeah.
We also hear voices. How to differentiate between the mind's voice and the intelligence voice? Like how do you know this is actually the intelligence voice?
Yeah. Correct. So basically, it is said that there are many voices coming from within. Sometimes even for pure devotees, it's like Paramatma inspires him. So pure devotees are able to understand. But in our sometimes mind may tell something, sometimes intelligence, sometimes the super soul we don't know. So it may be lot of suppressed super soul's voice. So many voices are there in desires and things. So in the Shastras, it is said that we should always check. So we have this check and balance, that is Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So we should always check it with whether, suppose I am feeling something. So whether it is according to Shastra, whether it is authentic, according to the sadhu, like immediate some superior who is available, we can ask him, or the guru, our spiritual master, we can clarify whether am I doing this thing, whether it is correct or not, whether I am going in the right direction or I am getting deviated. So when we check, this is a check and balance, guru, sadhu and shastra. So when we check it with that, and so my desire is this, and it is aligned with guru, sadhu and shastra also, then we can say that yes, then that means it is correct. But my mind is telling something, and Guru Sadhu Shastra says, no, no, this you don't have to do. So then one has to understand that this is my mind was telling, so I will follow whatever my Guru and the Shastras are recommending, I will follow that. Like in Prabhupada times, there was one person, no, he said that I am going to chant 192 rounds now. All of you all have to do services, you are not yet purified. But Bhagavad Gita it says, Satatam Kirtayantumam, so I am going to chant all the day. So he was not doing any service and he just wanted to chant whole day. And when it was asked to Prabhupada, Prabhupada also said, chant minimum 16 rounds and you do your services. So then when it was told to him, he said, no, Prabhupada knows my position. He is actually telling for all of you. So he is not telling for me. So that's how he used to, and some of the people actually thought maybe he is actually in that platform. 192 is chanting, maybe some follower of Haridas Thakur. So then after some days he was chanting, he used to be like distant from all the devotees, he used to chant whole day. One day he was suddenly blocked, he was not visible and nobody could know where is he. And then once devotees they went for bus party, the distributing books and all. When they came back, they saw, so while coming they wanted to fill some petrol in their vehicle. So when they came to the petrol pump, they saw this one person was putting, and then they saw this was the same person who was chanting 192 rounds. So then they asked, oh, how you are here? We were searching you for so long. He said, yeah, actually, I got in married and I had family, so now I have to do all this. So then they said, okay, what about your chanting? Are you still doing? He said, oh, I completed my whatever quota of chanting before only. Now he is more into maintaining the family and he has become more into material life now. So this is how he tried to hear his own voice instead of hearing from Guru or Sadhu or Shastra. So then he got fell down from his position. So that's what there. Thank you, Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada ki